Alright, this is rhythm number 18. I'm going to show you lines 1 and 2 as in our examples this time. It's starting to get a little bit more complicated. If you've been staying true and really practicing the tone clap method, now is when that's gonna start paying off. If you've been kind of like ignoring the tone clap method and not trying to do it, then this is going to become a little bit harder and harder. But let's go through and see how this one will work with the tone clap method. Beat 1, we're going to ta here. Is the beat divided? No. We're going to ta here. Is the beat divided? Yes. Smallest note value is an eighth note. We have to count for every eighth note value with either a ta or a clap. There's 2 eighth notes within a quarter. I mean, we happen to have 2 eighth notes, so we're going to ta and ta. All right, over here, is beat 1 divided? Yes, it is. And there happens to be 2 eighth notes, so we're going to ta and ta. Is beat 2 divided? Yes, it is. So normally we would ta and ta. However, this is being held over. So we're going to hold that over. We can't ta here because we're holding the note over. But we are going to clap. Why? Because that's where the start of beat 2 is, and we account for every beat with either a ta or a clap. Since we can't ta, we're going to clap there. All right, now let's look at this beat. In fact, you'll probably see that these two are basically the same rhythm, just written out a little bit differently. This one is 2 eighth notes tied together, and 2 eighth notes make a quarter note. This one is, they just wrote it out as a quarter note. All right, so let's figure out this one. If we use our tone clap method rules, we should come out with the same result. Is beat 1 divided? Yes, it is divided because we have a note smaller than what the beat value is. What's the smallest note value? An eighth note. We're going to count for every eighth note value with either a ta or a clap. We're going to ta here, and the second eighth note starts here, even though this is a quarter note. The second eighth note value of beat 1 starts here, so we'll ta there. So that takes care of beat 1, ta and ta. Where does beat 2 start? Well, beat 2 starts here. It starts the second half of this quarter note. Where ta, we have to hold that through all the way to this note. But we will clap on beat 2 to initiate, to mark where beat 2 happens, just like we did over here. So we ta, hold through, and clap here where beat 2 falls. And then we ta here. Keeping a steady beat is very important when you get to this measure, and being able to demonstrate this measure will show if you can keep that steady beat. Over here, is the beat divided? No. Is the beat divided? No. But we will hold this through, and we will ta as the start on this note. We will clap on beat 2. We will not clap on any of the eighth note off beats. Is the beat divided? Yes. How many? What's the smallest note value? Eighth note. There are 2 eighth notes. We'll ta on both of those. Is the beat divided? No. We'll ta here. It's held over to beat 1, so we need to clap on beat 1 right here while we're holding this note over. Is the beat divided? Yes. What's the smallest note value? Eighth notes. We need to count for every eighth note value. This is eighth note value 1, we ta on it. This is eighth note value 2, we ta on it, hold it over, and we have to clap where beat 2 is placed, and then we ta on the and of 2, because is this beat divided? Yes, it is. We have to count for each one with either a ta or a clap. We're accounting for the first one with a clap, and we account for the second one with a ta. That's the same rhythm in this measure, but it's further complicated because we're tying this over. I'm going to start right here for a second. I'm going to start on, well, let me start on this note, just to isolate this measure and this measure, and you can do that with me. Steady quarter note pulse, starting in this measure. Here we go. Ta, 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 ta. Okay, so what did I do? I ta, 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 held over, clapped, ta on the second eighth note value, and then I clapped on beat 2, and then I ta on here. Okay, keeping a steady pulse. Here are those two measures together. And here we go. Ta, 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 ta. Okay, take a couple of chances getting that. And let's look at the rest of it. this rhythm shouldn't be complicated. We should have ta, ta, ta. Is the beat divided? Yes. What's the smallest note value? 8th note. We're going to have two events happen here, meaning 2 tas, 2 claps, or a combination of the two. The first 8th note we're going to clap on because there's a rest. The second 8th note value we're going to ta on because there's a note. Is the beat divided here? No. So we're just going to ta there because there's a quarter note. Is the beat divided? Yes. We have to have 2 events, a ta or clap. The first event will be a clap. The second event will be a ta. The next one is the same rhythm as here, so we'll have that happen again. The next beat rhythm is the same as this beat, so we'll have that here. Is the final beat divided of this measure? No. So we will just use it as before. We'll ta that note. Give me 1 second. I need to pause this. Alright, that's kind of a long explanation. So let's see if we can do lines 1 and 2 together. I will hopefully not make a mistake on this first time. If I do, I'll try to do it again. It's important to keep that steady pulse. And here we go. Ta, 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 ta. All right. Again, that trick is that what this forces your brain to do is you have to be able to think of quarter notes, ta, ta, and 8th notes, ta, 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 all at the same time. Because over here, you're dividing your brain into the 8th notes to count for all of those. But then when you go back to this, you are not clapping 8th notes or tying 8th notes anymore. You're ta, clap. And you have to make sure that you're having that at the same time. You can go on ta, 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 that you keep thinking of what is the quarter note pulse as well. You can switch back between the two very easily.